Good morning. For today's stewardship testimonial, I want to highlight about 25 years of stewardship by this congregation through the Patrick Ministry. And if you're not familiar with that, which I wasn't until I actually got on the Patrick Committee about 6 years ago, I would point you to a two-part 25th anniversary report that was written by Mary Constantine, and it's come out in the last several reporters, and has a really excellent detail and description of how that got started and a bunch of the activities over that time. Anyways, so the Patrick Ministry started with a donation from the estate of Doris Patrick of about $1.3 million or so. And as far as I could tell from the records, there was no restrictions on that bequest. So the church could have done anything it wanted to it, could have wrapped it into its other endowment and just for general funds. Instead, it chose to set up a special program, the Patrick Ministry, and use the earnings from that money essentially to enable other people's stewardship, okay, both within the congregation, within our local community, and throughout the United Methodist Church nationwide. So over the 25 years of the Patrick Ministry, by my estimate, and this is unofficial sort of from the records that I could get, that it's given away about $2 million of funding. Grants range from as small as a couple $100 up to tens of thousands, and they go towards like in-house activities for things within the congregation. A lot of nonprofits in the Oneonta region, but also across the country. There have been grants given to United Methodist organizations around the country. And the purpose of these grants varies widely, okay? So there's not, it's very broad. It has to, as long as it meets the mission of the church, the money is given for a whole range of things. But a good number of them go to things that I think directly meet the mission statement of the church that we recite every Sunday, which is to stand with all our neighbors who are marginalized and oppressed as Jesus did. So just a couple of examples of things that the Patrick Ministry has funded, and this is not, this is just a few examples. The Otsego Refugee Resettlement Coalition, food banks and free meal services, a number of those. The Oneonta Community Health Center, Juneteenth celebrations, the first few years that got going in Oneonta was supported by the Patrick Ministry. Dana Harrell's documentary film about Haitian immigrants, Family Services Association Shelter, the Pastor's Discretionary and Emergency Funds, and the Purple Bag Ministry, which was helped victims of sexual assault. So those are just a few examples of the kinds of things that I think fall in that category. Obviously, this kind of stewardship is increasingly important in our current sort of cultural and political climate, where the governmental safety nets for people who are marginalized and oppressed are being withdrawn. And so being able to support those kind of activities by non-governmental agencies and individuals is really, really important. So I think this is a really great program, a really great ministry that some very wise people in our congregation, before really I was involved in the congregation much, came up with over 25 years ago. And I would encourage all of you as members of FUMC to keep it in mind, okay, because it's available if you have an idea for a stewardship activity or a ministry that needs some money. That's a good source. And also help us spread the word to the wider community about this program so that we can get that support out. Thank you.